All right, here is our video for Musette by Bach. This piece is supposed to depict a bagpipe player out in a pasture, a shepherd watching sheep graze. So you get the idea that this is supposed to be very, very calm and very beautiful sound. And the first thing that we have to do to get that is to practice with short bows with toe sound. And there are a lot of slurs that come on string crossings and things like that. So what we're going to do is, in the beginning, make sure every slur we're stopping. So it's just going to be toe, toe for each of the slurs. Now, the other thing, though, that's very important is that you really pay attention to the direction of the bowing, because it can be a little tricky sometimes. It's very important to get it right the first time so that you don't ingrain the wrong thing. And what I advise that you do is, especially beginning like in measure 5, take 2 measures at a time and just drill these bowings over and over again, maybe 10 to 20 times in a row, and then move on and then come back to the point where you really are making sure that every bowing is correct. But let's start right at the beginning. We're going to put the bow a little bit above the middle. I'm going to back up so you can sort of see everything, hopefully the bowing and the fingers. And we're going to start with very short toe sound bows. Here we go. Down, down. Down, down, up, up, down. Okay, now I'm going to take the repeat. Okay, now the next section, let's make sure that your fingers are really, really loose here so that we can get a good reach between the 2 and the 4 without any tension. Because we're going to have 3, 4, and then back to 2. And we want to make sure that's very, very relaxed. So lots of shaking out is good. So we're going to start from measure 5 now. Put the 3 down on the E string. Low 2. Up, up, down, high 2, down, up, up. And now the bowing is down, down, separate, up, up, separate, down, down. Now we'll use open E here. Going on. Now keeping the 3 down, reach for 4. Move the bow. Low 2. Now we're going to use 4 this time. 4, 3, 2, 3. Down, down. Now right here we can set 1 on the E string and 2 on the A string before we begin. And we're going to go up, up. Now we're going to set 2 on the A string, high 2, and 3 on the E string. So those 2 are set. 1 on the E string, 2 on the A string. So for those the last eighth notes there in those last three measures, the first two you can prepare. You can have them set, and then just toe, 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 string crossings from the wrist. I'm going to go back again, and I'm going to do the repeat, and we're going to just isolate these little sections just so you can really pay attention to the bowing. So this is measure 5 again. Up, up, down, down, up, up. And now the next section. Down, down, up, down, up, up, down, 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 up, down. Okay, so you see how it's slurred two, separate two. That's the pattern. Now we're going to go on. Up, up, down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, so that bowing will be no problem if you just are patient and you repeat it many, many times in those little sections. And of course, we want to make sure fingers are always staying down as much as possible. Everything we're coming back to, of course, the finger will stay down. And also fingers will stay down to help other fingers. So for example, in the first line there, I'm going to start at the beginning and let you see my left hand here. Now right here, 3 can stay down, and we're going to put the 2 right next to 3 and then lift. Okay, so of course all that stuff is happening. So the most important thing is loose, relaxed hand, beautiful toe sound with a very relaxed, springy arm that's coming right from the shoulder. And really making sure all of the string crossings are clean. So in other words, you're always setting your finger first, then the string crossing comes. And if you work on it that way enough times, then you'll sort of know when it's time to start to do it the way we want to do it in the long run, which is with long sustained bows. And we not only are going to have these long sustained bows, but we're really going to put in some of these dynamics. I think you see in measure, let's see, the end of the first line, you see a crescendo and diminuendo, right? The sign that goes like this and like that in the music, which means we're going to get louder and softer. And what we can do is we'll do that with the speed of the bow. So we're going to begin this piece with not very much bow. It's going to be extremely calm and glued together, but pretty much staying in the middle. And then in those places where we want to bring out the dynamics, like if we want it to be louder, we're going to use more bow, more motion with the arm. And if it's softer, we use less motion. So I want to just start, first of all, just with open A. I'm going to play a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to put the bow here. Now we're going to smooth it all out. You notice that I'm really feeling this beat, inside beats. That's going the whole time in my mind. And what we can do is just practice that with open A. Now you notice I'm really sort of making the eighth notes, the faster notes are moving forward always to the quarter notes. So listen to that again. See if you can hear how I'm trying to get forward motion through these notes to lead forward. So Let's try that now with the fingers, with that same idea of beautiful forward motion through the phrase and smooth, sustained bows. Now I'm going to do that ending again, and this is something you can just isolate to really get that crescendo. I'm going to start, let's see, I'm going to start in the second half of the second full measure with 3 down, so it's going to be 3, 4, 2, 3. I'm going to start with little bow. I'm going to back up so you can see my arm. You're going to see more motion here as I get louder and then less motion as I get softer. So here we go. I'm not pressing at all. I'm just making sure I get to the frog for that high point with the A, which is the highest note. I'm going to do it again here. The more you practice making that come up and come back, the more control you're going to get of that crescendo and diminuendo. Okay, so I'm going to take the repeat now. And you'll hear me bringing out some of the dynamics in the rest of the piece, but I'm not going to really talk too much now. I'm just going to take the repeat and then go on to the second half. So you see how we slow down a little bit at the end, the second time, let the bow fade away. I hope you could hear how all those slurs were really changing the way we heard, the way the notes were grouped together, but you weren't aware of when I was changing strings because everything was so well connected and the string crossings were so well coordinated. Okay, so that is our video for Musette. Good luck.